One way to understand the evolution of art history is to see it as a series of discoveries about what painting can truly achieve. Cornelis Gijsbrechts, a Flemish painter from the 17th century, took that discovery into entirely new territory. What fascinated Gijsbrechts the most was the ability to turn a painting into an illusion so convincing it could fool the human eye. His works elevated the Trompe-l'œil, a French term meaning to deceive the eye, to another level, creating visual tricks so precise that viewers are left wondering where reality ends and illusion begins. Although little is known about his life, one thing is certain: his paintings are so innovative in their details that they completely challenge our sense of perception. Let's take a closer look. The first thing you'll notice about this image is that it's actually a painting within a painting. At the center, we see a still life featuring a skull and other objects. Look closely at that central section. The top right corner of the inner canvas appears to be peeling away from its wooden stretcher. Likewise, the lower edge is stretched with cords, as if the canvas is still being mounted. It's temporarily attached to a wooden wall surrounded by other painted objects. These elements are rendered so realistically that they seem to exist on multiple layers of reality. Let's pause for a moment and consider this. When we usually look at a painting, we expect it to represent some version of reality. For instance, in a landscape painting, we expect to see trees, mountains, rivers, and so on. Meanwhile, the physical components of the painting, the canvas, the frame, the stretcher, belong to our reality as viewers, not to the world depicted. But in this work, Gijsbrechts deliberately plays with that expectation. He paints objects that we would normally assume are real, like his studio, a bundle of brushes, a painter's mahl stick, bottles of linseed oil and turpentine, and incorporates them into the illusion of the painting. In fact, Gijsbrechts pushed this idea even further in another piece, where he painted the back of a framed canvas. He captured every detail, the nails, the inventory tag, the rough wood, so convincingly that it looks completely real. The painting, titled "The Reverse of a Framed Painting," is often displayed leaning against a wall, just like a real painting waiting to be hung, to enhance the illusion even more. With works like these, Gijsbrechts turns our expectations upside down. He reveals what is usually hidden, disguising the painting itself as the thing that would normally conceal it. Returning to Trompe-l'œil with studio wall and Vanitas still life, the inner image shows a skull, an hourglass, its hexagonal frame turned sideways, and other objects that represent leisure and pleasure. Taken together, this scene can be read as a version of a still life known as a Vanitas. These types of paintings were meant to remind viewers of the fleeting nature of worldly pleasures and possessions. The term comes from the opening lines of the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible. "Vanity of vanities," says the preacher, "vanity of vanities, all is vanity." Like many Vanitas paintings, Gijsbrechts filled his work with symbols meant to suggest the passage of time and the inevitability of death, no matter how much we accumulate. The skull is wrapped in wheat stalks, evoking the changing seasons. In the foreground, there's a letter. Behind the skull, a violin, along with a tobacco pouch and a pipe, all referencing the five senses and the intellectual pursuits of human life. What makes this painting so captivating is its layered complexity, a world within a world, both revealing and concealing. One particularly striking detail is the artist's palette. You can almost imagine the quiet satisfaction Gijsbrechts must have felt while painting it, using his own pigments to replicate the very tools of his craft. But here's the question: is that palette part of the illusion or somehow real? At this moment, the boundary between illusion and reality begins to completely dissolve. The tradition of creating illusionistic images designed to trick the eye has a long history. One of the earliest known stories of trompe-l'œil comes from ancient Greece, where two painters, Zeuxis and Parrhasius, tried to outdo each other in a painting contest. Zeuxis painted grapes so realistic that birds flew down to peck at them. In response, Parrhasius painted a curtain so convincing that even Zeuxis himself, fooled by the illusion, tried to draw it aside with his hand. That moment, when art manages to fool even the most trained eye, is exactly what Gijsbrechts seemed to pursue centuries later. Before we continue, I want to remind you that if you'd like to have this artwork in your collection, it's now available in our catalogue. You'll also find over 500 carefully selected historical works to pick your favorite and have it in your home for a lifetime. Shipping is completely free worldwide, and by purchasing from the store, you're helping me keep creating videos like this one. I'll leave the link in the description so you can place your order. Now, let's continue. During the Baroque period, roughly between 1600 and 1750, Trompe-l'œil paintings experienced a surge in popularity. The upper classes developed a fascination with clever illusions and visual metaphors. Gijsbrechts took full advantage of this trend, eventually becoming the court painter for the Danish royal family. His playful talent for illusion earned him many admirers and a secure position at court. In one of his most notable works, he included 3 miniature portraits that reference his royal connection. The top portrait depicts King Frederick III of Denmark. The bottom one is a self-portrait of the artist, but the middle portrait is left blank, and that detail has sparked speculation. Some believe it was meant for the king's wife, Queen Sophie Amalie of Brunswick-Lüneburg. Others suggest it was reserved for his mistress, Baroness Margaret Parpe. Leaving such an open question is exactly the kind of visual game Gijsbrechts loved to play. It is known that the Danish royal family maintained a cabinet of curiosities, and it's believed that Gijsbrechts painted this work specifically for that room. These cabinets, also called wonder rooms, were early versions of modern museums where wealthy European families displayed collections of rare and exotic objects. These included taxidermied animals, religious relics, historical artifacts, and items brought back from foreign lands. One special feature of the Royal Cabinet of Curiosities was the King's Perspective Room, a space dedicated entirely to illusionistic paintings and devices, including several perspective boxes. These boxes created a three-dimensional effect when viewed through a peephole. Only 6 of these boxes are known to survive today. It was in this room that Gijsbrechts' painting would have been displayed, along with many others he created. In fact, a 1690 inventory records that 15 of the 29 paintings in the King's Perspective Room were painted by Gijsbrechts himself. He became one of the greatest trompe-l'œil artists of the 17th century, a title he clearly took pride in. To make it official, he even included his own business card in the painting, presenting himself as a conterfeyer, a term referring to a master of imitation or visual deception. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this artist in the comments, and let me know if you had heard of him before. See you in the next video. Bye.